Hello, beautiful people. I'm Chris Maddox, founder of the Wild Woman Project and Wild Woman Fest. And I'm speaking to you today because we always meet like this at new moon time. And the new moon is upon us. It arrives on May 4th, and it initiates a moon cycle which will carry us all the way through June 2nd. So here at the Wild Woman Project, we really encourage you to take time during the new moon to slow down, to turn inward, to get pretty contemplative, to listen to your own heart, and to really create intentions for the cycle ahead and beyond. And we always share in a theme. And each theme is inspired by the astrological placement of that particular new moon. So in this case, on May 4th, this is the new moon in Taurus. And we are focusing on something very Taurian. So Taurus is an earth sign. So this means it's a fantastic time to get outside, to connect to the earth itself, to the natural world, to all the living beings, to really connect to our own bodies and whatever makes us feel grounded. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is the planet of love. Venus is the planet of beauty, and it's the planet of wealth. So inspired by this Taurus archetype and looking at the actual second house in the astrological system, and don't worry if you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter because the theme stands on its own 2 feet. But in astrology, the second house, which it has an affinity with Taurus, is associated with our wealth, with our resources. So we're really going to zoom in on this life area. We're going to zoom in on our resources, our wealth. And our theme is receiving our wealth. So it's built right into the theme, this sort of attunement. So receiving is kind of like a palms up energy saying, it's a receptive state, receiving. And our wealth. So the implication here is that we are all wealthy. And we are not wealthy for any other reason, but that we are human, that we are alive, that we're a part of the natural world. And built into the natural world is a kind of wealth that in the experience of life, that we have the raw materials to create something beautiful. Now, it can be a long and winding road to figure out how to use the raw materials that are in the given circumstances of our life, which of course cannot be disconnected from our culture and our world and the great family of things. It's all interwoven. So we're really looking at this idea that we are inherently wealthy, that we have within us inner resources that it's like cannot even be measured, but maybe can be felt, experienced, used. There could be gratitude in the way that we experience something. Like you might have a fantastic skill for carving, like carving wood, for carpentry. You might have a phenomenal skill of listening and really being able to hear the truth underneath what's being said. You might be a great networker. You might have an amazing ability to connect one human being to the next, right? And these little things, we're not used to thinking of those things as wealth, our inner resources, but they are. It's part of, like I said, like the raw materials that we have in our life is, oh my gosh, you could have a beautiful singing voice and have the ability to move someone's heart by simply letting your voice out. And the list can go on and on. So we're going to be in a process of really looking to remember the fullness of what wealth actually means. Because, I mean, not because, but it's an important exploration of this time. I live in the United States, and it's a well-known fact that the middle class is disappearing. So that is, the wealthy are getting more and more wealthy, and the poor are getting more and more poor, and the middle class is disappearing, and the space between them is disappearing. And yet we still have some of the same old messages about uh, what the American dream is, and who we're supposed to be, and what we're supposed to want, and what our life is supposed to look like. But the reality is that we are not living in the same world that we were living in 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago. you know we are all of you watching this video, you and me, and anyone else who is alive. This is the reality that we're living in. That's the raw material of our life. And so I think that there's a lot of wealth that goes unseen because we forget all the different ways that we can be wealthy. I pulled this amazing quote, which really resonated for me, from Henry David Thoreau. He says, "Wealth is the ability to fully experience life." So one of the things that we're going to be asking at during this moon cycle, both in Wild Woman Project circles and throughout the moon cycle, is, what does wealth mean to you? What is your definition of wealth? We're also going to take a little stock and say, what are my inner resources? What are my outer resources? And that can be in the form of money, absolutely, or property, or all the things that, possessions. It could also be the people that you're connected to, your community. It could be the what's going on in the natural world around you. There's all sorts of different ways to identify unconventional wealth. And so we're going to be in a process together of really looking at our life, really thinking that earth element thing of really looking around at our life and saying, boy, am I rich. I'm rich in friendship, or I'm rich in music. I'm rich in greenery. I'm rich in culture. I'm rich in family bonds. I'm rich in solitude. I'm rich in art. It can be so many things. It has everything to do with what you value and what wealth really means to you. So the more that we can really see the true wealth that exists in our life, both inside and out, first see it, and then really allow ourselves an embodied experience of gratitude. I mean, you can have an experience walking in a park and seeing a great big tree. And you can look up at this tree and try to imagine what that tree has seen. And just to be in the presence of something older and maybe wiser than you, that's wealth. That's abundance. So the invitation of the moon cycle for all of us is to really open our eyes, open our minds, open our ears, open our hearts, open our senses, so that we know in some beautiful moment, which of course you will have this moon cycle. You could be talking to an old friend on the phone, and you could actually let yourself feel and receive the wealth that friendship has offered you, continues to offer you and will offer you into the future. You're rich in friendship. So I hope you'll join us for this exploration, and make sure you're on our email list. We're going to be, there are going to be different topics we're going to be looking at to kind of take this theme and look at it from every possible angle, or as many angles as we can cover in a moon cycle, And hopefully we'll learn something and grow. So if this seems like an interesting exploration for you, there are actually two ways to have a real embodied experience with this. So the first way is you could find yourself a Wild Woman Project circle near you. There's a link below this video. We have circles happening all over the world. So look for your city, look for your country, look for your state, province, etc. And what you can expect at a circle is a trained facilitator to really guide you in looking at this theme. There's meditation, there's sharing, there's intention setting, there's ritual, and there's the opportunity to connect with other women in your community. So that's your first option. Second option, if there's not a circle near you yet, or you can't make it to your local circle, you can download right now, again, link below this video, your new moon retreat. So I make this with love, brand new, every single new moon. And it includes meditation. And in the meditation, I really love this meditation. You're really going to have the opportunity to be led through a guided look at your own wealth inside and out. And you get a new moon magazine, and it has intention setting, ritual suggestions. It has quotes from people who are much wiser than me. It has more about the astrology and just some other juice. It's very colorful. And yeah, I hand make that too. So you can download that right now. And I will say that this cycle, starting on May 13th, we have spring circle leader training. So if the idea of holding a women's circle seems juicy to you and something you want to learn to do, we've made this course for that purpose. It's 100% online. It's 7 weeks. It's with an international group of amazing women all over the world. And it's one part really personal development in the way of the wild woman, and one part skill building so that you can really skillfully facilitate a circle. So that is nearing capacity right now. So you'll make sure you want to grab your seat if you want it, if you're feeling the call. And we'd love to have you. So here's to receiving our wealth. Here's to starting our moon cycle with intention. And thank you so much for listening. I'd like to leave you with one quote from Dr. E. That's Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, on the subject of wealth. She says, "To be poor and be without trees is to be the most starved human being in the world. To be poor and have trees is to be completely rich in ways that money can never buy." Thanks for listening.